we can read it together. All right, so this is Worm's Wagon, and this was written by Samantha Berger and illustrated by Matt Phillips. So here you can see the front cover, and you can already gather some information about Worm and what he's going to be doing. Take just a second longer. All right, let's get started. One day, Worm went to the woods to gather walnuts. He brought his wagon with him. On his way home, Worm saw Woodpecker whistling in the weeping willows. Woodpecker asked Worm for a ride. "Wow, what a wagon," he said. Worm wiggled along down the path, pulling Woodpecker in his wagon. Soon they came upon Weasel eating a watermelon. Weasel asked Worm for a ride. "Wow, what a wagon." Worm wiggled along, pulling Woodpecker and Weasel in his wagon. Before long, they bumped into Wombat, who was wearing her new wig. Wombat asked Worm for a ride. "Wow, what a wagon," she said. Worm wiggled along, pulling Woodpecker, Weasel, and Wombat in his wagon. Next, they met Wolf on his way to work. Wolf asked Worm for a ride. "Wow, what a wagon," he said. Worm wiggled along, pulling Woodpecker, Weasel, Wombat, and Wolf in his wagon. Soon they saw Walrus winking and waving. Walrus asked Worm for a ride. "Wow, what a wagon." Anybody noticing something about Worm? If you notice something, tell your parents. Worm wiggled along, pulling Woodpecker, Weasel, Wombat, Wolf, and Walrus in his wagon. Up ahead, they saw Whale playing in the water. Oh, Whale asked Worm for a ride. "Wow, what a wagon." Worm wiggled with all of his might, trying to pull Woodpecker, Weasel, Wombat, Wolf, Walrus, and Whale in the wagon. But the wagon would not move. The wheels started to wobble. What are we thinking? Wham! The weight was too much for the wagon. It crashed to the ground. "Oh no, my wagon!" Worm wailed. "Oh, don't you worry, Worm," the animal said. Worm's Fred worked on the wagon all afternoon. When the wagon was fixed, Worm wiggled into it. Then his friends, Wombat, Weasel, Wolf, Woodpecker, Walrus, and Whale pulled Worm all the way home. And weary Worm had a wonderful ride. The end. All right, I'm going to take a picture of this so that you can use this on one of your lessons where you're going to write all of the things in this story, or try to write all the things in this picture that starts with that W sound of a W. Wah, wah. Good. But of course, we can't forget our W cheer. W is for worm and wagon to pull. W is for wig, whale, wave, and wool. W is for watermelon, juicy and sweet. W is for walnuts, waffles, and wheat. Hooray for W, big and small, the wildest, wackiest letter of all. That should give you some ideas of some W words that you can put down. I've enjoyed doing this video, and if you have any questions, let me know. Happy Letter W Week!